This is KCIM Carroll.
Good Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome here to the Pizza Ranch Coaches Show. Jeff Blankman with you here. We've got an abbreviated show today. We've got Randy Beeson with the Carroll Tiger Boys basketball team and Sean Minahan with the Kimber Boys basketball team, both set to join us here today. We'll get to those interviews here in just a moment as they both talk about their wins in the sub-state game to get them to the state tournament. Also, brief preview of their games coming up next week at the State Boys Basketball Tournament. But let's run you through the scores from State Girls Basketball yesterday. In the 3A Championship, Maquoketa defeated Mount Vernon 59-42. In the 5A Championship, it was Johnston over Waukee Northwest 51-37. 1A semifinals, Newell Fonda down St. Albert 50-45. It was Bishop Garrigan over Dunkerton 49-38. Class 2A semifinals, Hinton topped at Denver 57-48. Rock Valley got by Trainer 57-54. Back with more here on the Pizza Ranch Coaches Show.
Hi, this is Dr. Rick Gotting. Join me here on KCIM at 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings where I talk about orthopedics and whatever else really comes to mind. We have a good time on the show and we would like to invite you to join us.
Listen this Sunday morning at 10 a.m. right here on KCIM for the St. Anthony Hospital Orthopedics Show with Dr. Rick Gotting. For more information about St. Anthony Orthopedics, go to stanthonyhospital.org or call 794-5536.
Back here on the Pizza Ranch Coaches Show here on this Saturday morning, talking at Kemper Boys Basketball with head coach Sean Minahan. They get ready to head down to the State Boys Basketball Tournament. They'll open up with Union coming up on Wednesday morning at 10:30. Of course, we'll have the broadcast for everybody on Kick 106.7. Coach, congratulations. Another well-deserved trip down to the state tournament for you and the guys. And you had to fight on Saturday night last week to get it, but you got the job done.
Yeah, it, got a little bit more stressful there in the fourth quarter than it definitely needed to be, but adversity is good, especially when you're able to come on top in the end.
What was the difference down the stretch? And for me, I pointed at Jack Bading's big three and then steal, and we gave him the Culver's player of the game because I thought those two plays kind of, clinched the win and gave you guys the win. But in your mind, as you probably went back and watched that film a few times, what jumps off to you about how you guys played and where do you felt you had the edges to give you the win?
Yeah, I mean, that back-to-back play series with Jack's three and steal were probably definitely the difference ultimately in the game. Teddy's fast start in the first quarter was huge for us, giving us, momentum.
Yep.
We rebounded the ball extremely well in the first. We had 10 offensive rebounds in the first half. The flip side of that is we didn't have any in the second. I thought the third quarter, we moved the ball really well. From a passing standpoint, we attacked their gaps really well, created some high percentage shots inside. Unfortunately, the fourth quarter, we just started getting a little bit tight. We scored a bucket, and then we had a turnover. We had back-to-back turnovers. One was on a travel that I didn't necessarily agree with the call, but you can't really go back and change that. You just got to keep making plays, and I think those back-to-back turnovers, and they hit a three. They answered our first basket with a three, and then they scored the next possession down. So all of a sudden, we went from 11 to up 13 to all of a sudden now it's I think it was an 8-point game and about 3 possessions there. With that, our guys got a little bit tight, but ultimately, I think our guys did a great job defensively all game.
Right.
Their main player, I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but he had 11 I think in the first half, and then Dylan guarded him in the whole second half and held him to 4 points. So he just did a phenomenal job on them. The shots that they took were all mid-range shots. I think they finished with like 12 points in the paint. So our defense really did do a great job. Unfortunately, they had the kid hit 5 threes on us. Part of that was early. Some of his early shots were because, hey, we're going to live with him taking shots because he's a 30% three-point shooter. And then after his third one, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to adjust. And he still was able to knock down a couple more that were big for him. But our guys, again, ultimately made the plays they needed to down the stretch to finish it.
Coach, you mentioned Dylan with his defense in the second half. His length and athleticism are probably a big part of it, but defense is a lot about heart as well. So is it the heart that makes him special on the defensive end?
Yeah, I mean, he loves to compete. He likes to go out and guard that, the other team's best player. Ideally, that's where if you have Griffin healthy, you can rotate Griffin and Dylan on him and Jack on him. Jack was on him early, but did a good job, but then picked up 2 fouls.
Yep.
So that's where you put Dylan on him when Dylan wasn't in foul trouble. But I think he's a smart player. He's very instinctive. He's played a lot of basketball. Even though he's just a junior, he's played a lot of basketball games. And he anticipates plays really well and uses that length to his advantage.
And then you mentioned Teddy Perkins. You maybe don't get that game if he doesn't go out and shoot like he did early. How big was that, especially for a guy that maybe doesn't considered one of your leading scorers and a guy that's going to shoot a ton to get off to that kind of a start?
It's always nice to get that on film too for other teams to watch going forward. Is like, hey, he is a guy that you do need to know where he is, because he is more than capable of knocking down shots. Teddy's he's an ultimate role player. He's going to go out there, and I say that in most positive way, is he's going to go out there. He's going to do all the little things that a lot of people don't notice. He hustles his butt off, and it's nice to see when he's able to capitalize and make those key plays and come up big for the team.
Coach, for you guys in that fourth quarter, you had kind of got a little stagnant. That 2-3 zone of theirs was really good. Where were the struggles in trying to attack it late and stuff? And what did they do differently, like kind of late in the game, that made it a little harder? Maybe, as I remember talking to Jack and Ryan, and they really talked about how hard it was to get the ball inside there late in the game.
I think, honestly, our guys just got a little bit afraid of making the mistake. I thought there was opportunities screening or having our bigs screen the bottom of the zone and look for passes. I think we need to do a better job of being more physical inside, just trying to creating space with our bodies, both and then at the high post as well. And I just think we got a little bit timid, and honestly, we played a little bit not to lose. Not wanting to make that key mistake, and in doing so, it took away any advantage that we had early on in the game, where you play fearlessly, you look to attack, and that's usually what makes us so special. So that's a big thing we talked about going forward is, you guys, we can't play not to lose. You got to play to win the game, and you're going to have to go out and make plays. And you still want to be fundamental in how you do it. You don't want to be sloppy in it, but you also can't be afraid.
How did you guys adjust to Van Hove as they started trying getting him established in the second half? Because he didn't really do anything against you in the first half, and then it looked like that became a focus for them in the second half. How did you guys adjust?
We talked about making sure we're guarding him correctly early on, and challenging Ryan to, find that, get in that good position, and make those passes tougher. A little bit more on-ball pressure was helpful. He did a good job of trying to post up and find the advantage. And with some of the sets, they took away the weak side help. But it kind of came down to just keep battling, look to contest, and not put him at the free throw line. He had a couple of and ones that were big for him as well.
That late shot by Jack that gave you the lead after they had tied it at 51-48. Was that something that you guys drew up for him? Did that just come kind of in the flow of the offense, or was that just a senior going, somebody needs to kind of, feel comfortable here and take that shot, and he just did it?
It was the latter one. We wanted to be patient and find the right shot for our team. They collapsed down on Dylan when we finally got him the ball at the high post and not just sitting on the perimeter. So we got to the high post. It forced their top side guy where Jack is to collapse in on it, and then Dylan hit the kick out, and Jack just shot the ball with confidence, and that's the big thing with Jack. Jack is a great shooter, especially when he is playing confident. It's just keeping him to playing with that confident level is huge.
The defensive play that he made right after that, some guys will celebrate making a shot after like he did, and it maybe takes them a second to get refocused. It looked like the moment he made the shot, he was already refocused on what he needed to do defensively.
Yeah, and we got a timeout right away, and that allowed us to set up our defense and get locked in, and they wanted to run a set, and credit Coach Leonard. He did a great job of getting all of their sets all set up, and our guys did a good job of talking in and knowing what to expect, and so he's able to go make the play off of that.
You guys head down to the tournament. You've been prepping for Union, a team that you faced last year in the sub-state. We talked a little bit about that, Saturday night after your win. What have you learned from them about this team this year that you'll be facing here coming up on Wednesday morning?
They're better than they were last year. They're a lot better. They're playing very confident basketball. They play very fast. They shoot the ball really well. If you really want to compare, styles, they're very stylistically similar to us. Their offense might look a little bit different, but the goals of what they're trying to accomplish are the same. They're going to play 5 guards. They only graduated one guy from last year's team, and he was their big guy. But they returned everybody else. They did lose their leading 3-point shooter, a Sorensen kid. He broke his leg in their last regular season game in the fourth quarter versus Grundy Center. But one thing we keep telling our kids is these guys are clutch. They step up and make plays for their team and for each other. He got hurt, and they responded by one of their guys stepped up and made back-to-back threes, right after he got hurt. So they're pretty resilient from that standpoint of, they got not, huge size, but they're long, they're athletic, and they just play extremely hard. But, points-wise, we average 76. I think they average 70. Defensively, they hold teams to 48. We hold teams to 52. So assist-wise, we're about even. Turnovers, we're about even. Both turnovers and turnovers you're forcing on the other team, steals, rebounding. So, you go down the stat line, we're very similar and comparable teams that way.
Well, Coach, as always, we appreciate all the time on these Saturday mornings. I know we'll look forward to catching up with you to talk about this game with Union coming up more for the Mackey Motors tailgate coming up on Wednesday morning. But congratulations again on making it down to the state tournament. Looking forward to seeing you down there on Wednesday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet. Head coach again, Sean Minahan with the Kemper boys basketball team. We're back here on KCIM.
Ready to make this your best summer yet? Join the fun at Carroll National. With a full golf membership, your family gets unlimited golf 7 days a week. Tee it up anytime. Cool off at the pool, grab dinner at the club, and enjoy member-only events all season long. Plus, members score discounts on food, apparel, and private events, and new members get $1,000 off their first year. Carroll National, where families play, relax, and belong. Join today. For more information, go to carrollnational.golf.
Back here on the Pizza Ranch Coaches Show, Jeff Blankman talking right now with Randy Beeson, the head coach, of course, with the Carroll boys basketball team as they get ready for their opening round state tournament game coming up on Monday against Pella. But Randy, first of all, congratulations. Appreciate you joining us, but we have to bounce all the way back to this past Monday where you guys qualified for the state tournament with that win over Sioux Center. So thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, it's looking forward to talking to you, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. I tell you what, I got to kid you a little bit. You told me you were exhausted after that game the other night because that thing was tight all the way. Has the energy level come back up? Have you regained that strength and gotten some rest?
Sure. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
I'll take exhausted and mentally drained and all that stuff after finding a way to win that game. So, it's been a fun week getting to go to practice, and a lot of people that aren't able to do that anymore. So it's been a little crazy, a lot of things going on, but fun to still get to go and have practice and be with the guys and try to prepare for a good week next week.
What's that feeling like as a coach to watch your kids, especially those seniors, that this was their last chance, cut that net down, especially at your own place, to be able to celebrate qualifying for state?
Yeah, it's what you work really hard for, right? After we won on Monday, Tuesday, we just watched some film and got up some shots, and I didn't even get a chance to talk to the whole team after the game because we were out on the floor the whole time and cutting down the net and doing all that stuff. So went in the classroom and talked to them there briefly, and then started back into the grind of watching film and all that. And purposely the last thing we watched was the celebration after the game of, guys celebrating with each other. And I paused it before we got to that point and just said, hey, this is why we coach. This is why you guys work so hard. We talked about all the things that aren't fun at practice, the first couple of weeks of practice of running, conditioning, the hours of watching film, some of the things that are not the reasons why people go out for basketball. And then showed the celebration numerous times and said, this is why you guys do it, right? It's all worth it to see you guys smile like this and to see you guys celebrate with each other. And so it's the same way watching them cut down the net, right? Like, not very many people get an opportunity to do that. So there was a picture taken of me right after the game and just standing and staring and watching. Just soaking it all in. And I think that's the joys of coaching, when you get to see your kids really enjoy something that they put a lot of time and effort in. And, unfortunately, that doesn't happen all the time. So for the guys to get to celebrate and do that after a hard-fought win was a lot of fun.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about that game. We kind of laughed about, the tiredness. I think the kids felt the same thing, even though there was that, that energy from the win. But, even as a broadcaster, that game wore me out the other night. It was close the whole way. You guys had to battle. You had to hold off several different runs from Sioux Center. They just did not want to go away because, like you, they wanted to make state. Trey Tassel with a couple of huge threes. They're in the second half to kind of helped you as they took their only lead of the game, and you went right back up on top. But we talked some that night after the game and the post game. As you rewatch that film, anything else come up in your mind? Anything else you noticed that maybe in the rush of everything the other night that you didn't catch?
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times. I watched it that night when I got back, and then the next day as well. And again, you're always trying to get better, right? And when we watched it with the guys, you're like, hey, we're watching this because there's a lot of positives here, but we had an opportunity to close the game the right way. We got up 8 points with about 3 or 4 minutes to go. I think it was 6, maybe even 8 with about a minute and a half to go. And all of a sudden that game got a lot closer than what it should have. So there's always learning opportunities. There's always possessions that you go back and be like, hey, we can't make the same mistake. We got lucky here and whatnot. But just super proud of the guys. You never know who's going to show up in games like that. I joked with them when we were watching film. I'm like, were you guys nervous going to that game? And some of them played it off, and the other ones were like, yeah. It was a full house, so those are fun games to play in. But, for some people that haven't been in that situation and they're high school kids, so you never know what you're going to get. You try to prepare them all year long and let them know that every game's a big game. So this is no different. But you walk out there and you start warming up, and it's a completely full house, standing room only. You never know how that's going to affect guys. And the nice thing is I thought we came out and played really good defense right from the start.
Jake Jorgensen.
We weren't great offensively. We had some opportunities to score, and we weren't super efficient. And then they go on a little 6-0 run there to end the first quarter, and you feel like you're kind of in control kind of the whole first quarter, and then all of a sudden it's a one-possession game. Going in the second quarter, you're like, man, you worked really hard those first 5 or 6 minutes to all of a sudden lose focus there for that last minute. So, and then the second quarter was back and forth too. We go into halftime being up 5, and you feel pretty good about everything. A couple bad possessions offensively where we were pretty stagnant and took some tougher shots that weren't great, but defensively we weren't too bad either. And then the third quarter, I felt like the first couple minutes we were very average. They won kind of the 50-50 balls. We come over and kind of half block a shot. Kid throws up a tough shot and ends up going right into Muller's hands, and he gets an easy layup. And subbing and people in foul trouble and stuff like that. Trey picked up 2 fouls there in the first quarter, so he had to sit a majority of the first quarter. But Jason Talon came in off the bench and played some good minutes and did a nice job. Third quarter, we didn't have an answer for the Muller kid. He was scoring inside, and wasn't quite sure what to do. Louis was on the bench at the time, and Jared was trying to guard him, and Jared's a good help defender. So then once he goes to help, all of a sudden there's easy ones around the basket for him. So our guys did a really nice job. We switched to a 2-3 zone.
Yep.
And as you know, we don't play a lot of 2-3 zone. We practice it enough to say that we're comfortable running this.
Right.
We talked about it the night before, like, hey, we're putting in this and we're putting in this and we're practicing it. And I know you guys don't love to run it, but there might be a time if we can't get stops that we're going to have to switch it up and do something, and we did a good job of running it the night before. So again, to me, it's a confidence thing of, all right, now it's go time. We need to do it. And looking back, I didn't realize it at the time, but we gave up a layup against the 2-3 zone, and then we went 3 possessions in a row where they turned it over, and I think we got them to miss a 3. So that was definitely a game changer for us. We even went into the fourth quarter. Usually it's we'll do it a couple possessions, but we talked about going in the fourth quarter and like, hey, do we want to stick with it? And we did, and got a couple more stops, and we were a little better offensively. We executed some things in the fourth quarter off of some sets, made some big baskets, but Trey hit back-to-back threes in the third quarter. Talon hit a 3. We ended up making 3 threes in a row, which was huge. But that was also the stretch where we couldn't get a stop defensively. Every time we'd hit a shot, I'm like, oh, great, look up, and it's still a 1-point game. Like, we just made 3 threes in a row, and it's still a 1-point game. What's going on here? So we needed to get some stops, and we finally did down the stretch. And all of a sudden you look up with 3 minutes to go, and it's an 8-point game, and that's when it finally hit me like, hey, we got this. We just need to take care of the basketball and do what we do to end games and make some free throws, and, we're good to go. And that was bad thoughts, Jeff. As a coach, you never want to start thinking that way because that did not go well. They hit a couple threes there late. Actually got them to miss. I think it's a 6-point game. We got them to miss, and had a couple guys leaking out, had a wide open layup, and the ball got deflected. They come down, hit another 3, and sure enough, it's a 3-point game with 45 seconds to go, and Trey drove to the basket and had Louis on the backside, but kind of rolled his ankle a little bit and fumbled the ball, and all of a sudden it's their ball with 14 seconds to go. And give our guys credit. The huddle was a little crazy. Everyone's talking and trying to help out and figure things out. And I'm like, hey, take a deep breath, relax. We're fine, but let's find a way to make them miss and communicate. We had a couple fouls to give, so we used one of those. And Landon Peterson did a good job of being aggressive and not making it easy. And Louis switched and got his hands on a basketball, knocked it out with 4 seconds to go. So then the last play, they drew up an NBA out-of-bounds play where they try to throw it to their big guy and then set a flare screen for their best shooter. And, I remember talking after the game, you said, well, they did have a guy wide open in the corner. And we saw that too. We talked about that at film as well. But the play was designed to go to their point guard, the Hybrink kid, who's a really good player. And luckily we got a deflection, or they tipped it out to half court, and the ball hit the ceiling, and the game was over. So fun game, fun for the seniors. You talked about the seniors. We got a lot of seniors on the team, and we got a lot of guys that can step up and do some things, and Jared was really good, like always, especially in the first half. He made some really big plays attacking the basket, but Trey was really good in the second half, and proud of him. He struggled the last couple of games and was really down on himself and not making shots, and I'm like, hey, you'll snap out of it, keep being confident. So super proud of the way that he played, and it was just a good team effort.
Were you guys happy then that night or that next morning that they went ahead and posted, means there wasn't a game until Tuesday night to find out who all qualified in 3A? And at least you learned by early Tuesday morning that you had Pella?
Yeah. Kind of a strange thing where I think it was Wallert's girls team was playing at state that night, so they had to push back the game to the next day. So they had sent out a memo saying if they can figure out what seeds everyone is, they'll post that right away. But if they can't tell because of who's still playing and who won, they were going to have to wait. So yeah, it was nice to see that right away and see who we were going up against and start preparing for them and figure out a plan of how we want to attack that. But at that point, it it was like, hey, we just found a way to win. So it doesn't matter who we play. We made it there. It's quite the accomplishment. So you guys are super excited and fun to see that you match up against someone who you haven't seen yet this year with Pella. So it should be a fun one.
Yeah, a little family connection with Carroll and Pella as well, with Doug Deers on the staff and his boy and stuff with the Collison family. So kind of cool to see those kind of connections as well.
Yeah, for sure. Mac's like, yeah, there's going to be quite a bit of family there. I'm like, I'm sure there will be, and it'll be fun. And, I've gotten to know Doug a lot with Top 64, him coming to Carroll and all that. So he's a great guy, and now he's an assistant over there as well. So I've already talked to Mac numerous times, like, hey, you haven't told him anything about our team, right? Like at Christmas and all that, you've been quiet, and we've kind of chuckled about that. And I'm like, but he's told you a lot about his team, right? What can you tell me? Fill me in. So, it's always fun when there's a connection there. And, I've had that with my brother at Glenwood and stuff like that. So it's always fun when you play against someone that there's a connection or family and stuff like that. So looking forward to a fun game, and they're well coached and got a nice team, so it should be fun.
Well, Coach, as always, we appreciate you joining us here on this Saturday morning. Look forward to talking with you again early on Monday as you guys get ready for that game coming up with Pella.
Yeah, I appreciate the coverage, Jeff. Thank you.
You bet. Head coach Randy Beeson again with the Carroll Boys basketball team. We're back here on KCIM.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Let's take a quick look at that schedule for State Girls Basketball as we wrap up our Pizza Ranch Coaches Show here on this Saturday morning, getting underway at about 2:30 today in the 4A Championship. It'll be Carlisle against Dallas Center Grimes. In Class 2A, Rock Valley battles Hinton at around 4:45. And tonight in the 1A Championship, it'll be Newell Fonda against Bishop Garrigan beginning at 7 o'clock tonight. Tom Peterson of the Exira-Okran-Kimballton girls basketball team, their head coach, is going to be honored with a distinguished award coming up tonight at the halftime of that Newell Fonda and Bishop Garrigan game. We will get an interview with him coming up later on this evening. Thanks to Randy Beeson and Sean Minahan for joining us here on the Pizza Ranch Coaches Show, and thank you as well for joining us here on this Saturday morning. Have a great weekend, everybody.